Hi, Cheryl here, and I'm here to tell you about my newest creation and to teach you how to make it. This is a scarf that I made using the Mayberry technique. And the Mayberry technique is a combination of yarn and rainbow loom bands. And you do it on the rainbow loom. So I made this scarf on the rainbow loom, and I'm going to show you how to do it today. So all you're going to need is your rainbow loom, some nice fluffy yarn, and some of your favorite rainbow loom bands. So get ready and let's go. Okay, to get started on this, your first row is going to be out of bands. So you are going to start out by putting your bands in the same direction as the opening is facing, and you're overlapping your bands. There are 26 bands per row. So the way I did it, I did 15 sets, 15 rows of color for the one that I showed you. And then I did 4 panels of color. So each set or each panel is 15 rows of color. So this is 15 rows of blue and 15 rows of yellow and then orange and then green. Although it don't look like green, but it's green. So each time it's 15 rows. So it ended up being about 180, approximately 180 bands of each color. So you have a band count. So the total for the scarf, if you just go with the scarf the same length as me, it was a little under 2,000 bands, about 1,800 bands. You can of course make it longer. You can also use a different types of yarn. You don't have to use a fluffy yarn. You can use regular yarn for this. All right, so once you have these bands on, you're ready to start with the fluffy yarn. Push all these down. Okay, and you are going to get your fluffy yarn. Keep it in the spool, just start pulling it out from the spool. And you're going to start your end. Get our focus locked in. You're going to start your end by crisscrossing and then taking your hook. So you got this overlapped in a crisscross. Take your hook and go under the hoop. As I let go of the hoop. Go under, over, and then under again. And then you're catching this side, pulling it through the hoop, and then you're pulling your hoop. So you end up with a hoop there. I'm going to pull that out so you can see it one more time. Try not to knot it there so I can show it to you again. Okay, so you're going to crisscross it. And go under, over, and pull it through. And you end up with a little hoop here. And this little hoop you are going to put onto your loom. You're starting at the end, and it's the end of it going up towards, I've pulled my knot out. Don't want to start with a knot in my yarn. Okay, so you don't want this to be too tight, you want it to be a little bit loose, okay? But you want it on till it's staying on. Then from here, you are going to take these and you're going to slowly go up and around. Angle it so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to go up and around each pin, and you're wrapping it around the back, twisting it up and around each pin. You're doing this loosely, not so loose that it falls off, but you want it as loose as possible. And you get to the end, go down to the other side and do the same thing. The looser you can do this, the better, the easier it's going to be when it comes time to pull these up and over your bands, which is going to be your next row. Okay, then you're going to take your end, you're going to twist it just a tiny bit around your finger. I'm a little awkward because I need to show you what I'm doing. So I'm holding it around the back. And you're going to take your band and you're going to pull it up and over. While you're holding that in place, you want to pull it up and over the first two, because if I'm not holding it while I'm doing that, they're going to come off. You, of course, can hold it in a more comfortable position. I'm just doing it so I'm not in the way of your view. Once you got the first couple, you can let go of it. And then you're just going to go down the row and pull them up and over, being careful not to pull your yarn off of the peg. Once you get one side, go around to the other side. Do the same thing. And then from here on out, you're going back and forth between the yarn row and the band row. So my next row is going to be the rubber band row. And then I'm going to be doing 14 rows of my blue rubber band, and then I'm going to be changing colors. And I'm doing 4 sets of color. Okay, so I'm going to push all this down. Okay, and I'm adding on my next row of bands. Sorry, I was trying to find a comfortable position that I wasn't in your view. And again, we're going in the same direction as we did with the yarn, all the way around in a circle, overlapping every band. Oop. And make sure you do the ends. We are starting where we stopped, making sure to hold on to the end just while you do the first couple. After that, you're fine. You could even place it underneath. That should be enough for it. Give it a try and see if that works for you. I think it also will depend on what kind of table you're on. Remember to wiggle this a little before you pull it over. The band's already coming off. Oh, and that one came off, so I'm going to put it back on the loom. Take up the hook and put these two bands back on. 1 and 2. And pull it back over. So I was hoping I would be able to show you a couple of those, because I don't want you to worry if that happens, because that's one of the things I like about this pattern. It's very forgiving when it comes to that. Just make sure that you're hooking it with the hook downward and that you're not dropping it off the hook until you see that it's over completely and the bands are still on the peg. So take your time, don't rush it. But you don't have to be too slow. You can see I'm going pretty quick and I'm still able to catch it. Okay, I have 2 sets of color done. Each set is done in 15 rows. So it's 15 rows of bands, and that's the way I'm going to be counting this. So I have 15 rows of blue bands and then 15 rows of yellow bands. So I'm ready to start my next color. I'm on the yarn. So I'm wrapping my yarn. Like I said, it's easier to just pick one just base color yarn and use that color all the way through your scarf. That way you don't have to worry about messing around with changing colors in your yarn. And use your rainbow loom bands to give your scarf the color scheme. And then, I mean, you don't have to do solid colors like I'm doing. You could change it up and make this all kinds of colors. I'm just more of a solid color kind of girl. I think this is faster than just the traditional rainbow looming. And you'll have to see for yourself. Once you get used to it, if you think it goes faster, I wouldn't say in the beginning because it's going to take some time to get used to it. Once you're used to it, I think it goes a little faster. Getting very puffy. All right, so let's see, what color am I going to change? So I think I'm going to change to a green. Do a green now. I've got some oranges and some pinks too, but I think they're more of a, not a jelly, but they've got a little different texture. They're still a rainbow loom, but they've got a little different texture. So I'm not sure how they're going to look in this, but I'm going to try them. We're going to work, I'm going to do green next. Oh, maybe I'll do the orange. Never mind, I'll do the orange. We'll do the orange, and it's got a little different texture, but I'm going to try it and see what it does. Just because I think the green was too close to the yellow in color. So we'll do the orange next. I didn't read the package to see what my oranges were. I know they're rainbow loom, but they're a little, they were something different. But I liked how bright the colors were. Oh, we could have made it all orange and black for Halloween. That would have been great. Then my daughter would have probably stolen it because that's her favorite colors. Okay, so we got denim on. I wanted to show you how to handle it if one of these popped off with the bands pulling over the yarn. So if I run into that situation, I'm going to come back and show you how to handle that, because I've shown you how to handle it in this situation if the bands pop off when I'm pulling over here. But I want to show you the opposite situation. This is easy enough to handle when it pops off. As long as you still have the yarn. Even if you drop the yarn, you can it as long as it don't pull through, it's easy enough to handle. Oh, you're not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be at the end. You're not coming off. Stay on. Okay, I am at the end of my scarf. I've got a nice long scarf going here. I did 4 different colors and I put 15 rows of bands in each color. So I'm very thrilled with how this came out. It feels nice and comfortable on my neck. And I'm going to show you how to end this now. Okay, first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your black yarn, whatever color you use for this. So let's push this down a little bit here. And you're going to take your black yarn. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here for this so you can see what I'm doing. And you're going to wrap it. Again, we're doing this little loop thing that I showed you how to do, but we're going to do it to end it. So I'm twisting it so it's crossed over. Let me see if I want to do this so I'm not in your view. And I'm going to take my hook and go under and over. And this time I'm grabbing the inside here. And I'm hooking it. And then I'm going to pull it through. And I'm going to pull it on this side. Because I want my hoop to be as snug as I can towards the loom. See how I got, now I have a little loop, and I'm going to take that loop and put it right over the end. And this is how I'm going to get my yarn to stay on the end of my scarf. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to cut my yarn right about there. Okay, now to finish off the end of the bands, I am just going to chain them around like you would a normal rainbow loom. So I'm just going to go around the top and pull them up and through. So let me, hang on here. Okay, so let me get my loom in a comfortable position to do this. And we're going to start pulling them up and through. Zoom out a little bit, so we don't need to be quite as close for this. So we can start just about anywhere for this, but preferably at the end It's going to be the best place. I'm going to go in under, just like you normally would when you're doing this, under the first band, and loop back. And from there, you're just going under your little loop and grabbing everything and pulling it back. And here I've got my black yarn that I looped over. I'm going to go through that so that that is connected. So I'm going into my yarn on top, into my black hoop of yarn, and pulling through the two bands. That way my yarn is secure now. Excuse me, it's allergy season here, as you can hear in my voice. I'm very excited to get this done and wear it. Put an extra band in there. There we go. And this is my end one, so I'm going to pull it over to the other side. And this is where I'm going to put my C-clip, through these two, or three here. So it's going to go up through these three and clip them together. And then I can take it off here. Catch on this end. There we go. So this end is done. As you see, it pulls in nicely. And then on the other end, I want to finish off the other end too, because I don't like the way the bands are ruffled out here. So I'm going to take this end and pull it in also. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to put it through each band little more difficult because it's fluffy over here, but I'm just going to take my hook and I'm going to start pulling bands through each other. Sorry, the fluffy kind of makes it a little more difficult to see. And a little more difficult to do too. You're just taking the hoops as they come and pulling them inside to each other. And you get a nice little chain as you go because you're doing this. And it finishes off the other end. Oh. Sometimes your ruffles like to come with it. You're going to just go around doing this, and when you're done, you're going to put a clip on the end. Oh, dropped it. And you can leave that hoopy look on the end if you like it. I just prefer to do this so that my ends match and look more finished. And your ruffles are what's going to stand out on your ends. The fluffiness. I really like the fluffy sweater scarves. I think they're nice, but I think this is even better. First of all, you're adding color to it. Second of all, it adds a little weight to it. And this is going to keep your neck warm. I mean, a rainbow loom scarf on its own isn't going to keep your neck warm, and a fluffy scarf on its own isn't. So this is better than both of them. All right, so here I am back at the beginning. So I'm going to put another C-clip in. Clip it, and just clip it to where I started. Get up here, yeah. Yeah, I talk to the bands when they don't listen. I don't know about you. I think it helps. There we go. And it gives us a nice finished look on this end. Okay, so there you have it. A rainbow loom scarf done with the Mayberry technique. I hope that you like it, and I hope that you enjoyed my tutorial. Thank you for watching, and please check back because I will have more designs for you done in this technique.